Welcome back for part 2 in our unit on Reconstruction. In our first lesson, we learned about policies of Reconstruction and the legacies of Abraham Lincoln, Robert E. Lee, and Frederick Douglass. We also learned about what became known as Congressional Reconstruction. Part of Congress's requirement for readmitting Confederate states into the Union was that each state had to adopt the 14th Amendment into a new state constitution. This was one of 3 Reconstruction amendments that we are going to explore today. And that brings us to our essential question for today. What are the Reconstruction amendments? After the country had been divided for years over the issue of slavery, and Southern states had gone so far as to politically separate from the U.S., this time of rebuilding meant creating a new nation with amended laws to include African Americans. For the first time in its history, the United States was attempting to lay a legal foundation for the equality of all Americans regardless of race. This was easier said than done, as Southern states would work to combat the intention of the laws while technically still adhering to them. Equality is something that our nation continues to work toward, and we will be able to see some parallels in this unit between what happened then and what is happening today. For legal equality to exist, our country's laws had to be changed or amended. Luckily, our Constitution was set up with a process in place to do just that, because our founding fathers knew that society grows and the government must grow with it. Before the Civil War had even come to a close, Congress had already worked to pass the 13th Amendment through the Senate and then the House. This wasn't a terribly difficult task, though, given the Southern Democrats had seceded and were not represented. In order for it to be ratified into the Constitution, 3/4 of the states had to adopt it into their state constitution first. This happened on December 6, 1865, mere months after the war ended. The amendment outlawed slavery in the United States and its territories, except in the instance of a felony. This amendment expanded the Emancipation Proclamation beyond the rebelling South. The next task was to improve the standing of black people across the country. Radical Republicans wanted to see all people treated equally, and the first step was recognizing the formerly enslaved as citizens. On July 9, 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified. This law granted citizenship to all persons born in the U.S. and guarantees equal protection under the law. Additionally, the formerly enslaved would no longer count as 3/5 of a person when determining population totals and representation in Congress. All people would be fully counted. And lastly, the 15th Amendment was ratified sometime in 1870. It granted the right to vote to all men, regardless of race, color, or previous servitude. All right, we've reached the end, which means it's time for a quick reflection. Can you, in a few words, briefly describe each of the 3 Reconstruction amendments? I'll see you next time when we talk about the circumstances which led to the downfall and ultimate end of Reconstruction.